Pages is by Words and Pictures, located at 2610 Center Street Northeast in Calgary. For all your comic book, anime, toys, and more, stop by Words and Pictures. You'll be glad you did. This episode of Between the Pages is brought to you by Red Skull Comics. Offers the best selection of comics and trade paperbacks in Calgary, with a great selection of manga, games, magic cards, toys, statues, and a whole lot more. Want to be sure your collection is up to date? Then ask the friendly staff about their file services. Need more room for that growing collection? Then ask Red Skull about selling your back issue titles. 18 years and still going strong, Red Skull is the best little comic shop in Western Canada. Visit Red Skull Comics today at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast in Calgary. Then find them on the web at www.redskull.com and like them on Facebook.
Well, it is a fine Saturday afternoon once again here in Calgary, Alberta. This is Between the Pages, episode number 19. Wow, 19 episodes. We're one away from hitting 20, and we're 6 away from hitting 25, our first milestone. Now, that being said...
He's the counting monkey.
I am the counting monkey today. We have with us, as always, my inimitable co-host, the man who wonders what it would be like to have a menage a trois with Catwoman and Black Cat. As always with me...
I really, really do.
Mr. Jason Bishop, my inimitable co-host. How are you today, buddy?
Pretty good. Well, given that menage a trois, I guess I'm going to need some kitty litter.
You might need some kitty litter, yes. Yes, you might.
I'm very well, thank you, Richards. Yeah, so it's been an interesting week. Well, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. It's been a little bit of heaviness in the industry as a whole.
Yes.
With the sad things that happened in Colorado, and we keep continuing getting news out of better.
A little bit more. There you go.
All right.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we're continuing getting news about the Aurora shooting,
right.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
We are. What else we got going on? We've got some great comics to review this week.
That's right.
And our topic this week is video games and comic books.
That's
or
right.
Comic books or video games that have become comic
books. And then down the road we'll do the other way.
Right. Yeah. Down the we'll swing back the other way down the road. And we added some new books to our Watchmen list this week.
That's right. The Watchmen books are growing, and we will do a full review when those books have completed. When the next new number ones come out, we'll be doing reviews of those. But we're going to be doing a whole spotlight on Watchmen once that series is finished, and give you our report card, as it were. And for those of you who may not have picked up this event, might be a good primer for you for the trade paperbacks and hardcovers down the road.
Well, here's what we've planned to do is we plan to take them all, every one of them, with every issue for every one of them. Somebody's going to win that at the end.
Somebody might have a complete first print collection.
Yes. Wow.
Of Before the Watchmen. So
can I keep that?
The controversial Before the Watchmen. Can you keep that? No.
Okay. I just thought I'd ask.
Go get your own.
All right, I will.
Because we're going to give that one away.
We'll give that one away. Okay. So, want to talk? Let's get into the news. The news this week has been a little...
let's get rid of the bummer stuff.
Yeah, let's get rid of the bummer stuff first and foremost. DC announced this week that they sent a letter out to all the comic shops around the world.
That's right. I got the letter in my inbox this week, and I don't have it on my iPad, but you've got it on yours. So
I've got it on mine.
Why don't you read the letter that we got this week?
So, urgent shipping update on Batman Incorporated #3. This came out of DC Entertainment direct sales at DC Comics. Out of respect for the victims and families in Aurora, Colorado, DC Entertainment has made the decision to postpone the release of Batman Incorporated #3 for 1 month because the comic contains content that may be perceived as insensitive in light of recent events. We request that retailers do not make the issue available as previously solicited. Its new on-sale date is August 22nd, 2012. This includes versions of Batman Incorporated number 3 previously set to go on sale on the 25th of this month and arriving at retail on the 24th and 25th. Now, what they're saying here is they want all the variants as well brought off the shelf. That's number 3, the variant edition, the black and white variant edition, and the combo pack. So all 4 of those. And the digital version has already been postponed. Right. Now, that being, I think that's commemorable or yes. commendable in the light of what happened in Colorado.
Yeah, and I was actually, when we got the issue, because we literally got the issue and I got the email, I was already putting these books away and starting to get the subscriber ones into their folders, and literally got finished with the processing the shipment, and then I saw it in my email, like, oh, gotta nab all those things back out again. But we did it, and I wanted to take a look at the book itself, and I thought it was the cover itself with all the guns pointing at Matches Malone, but it wasn't what they thought was the offending material. And I'm not going
to bring up the article here.
Yeah, I don't want to show the material, the page itself, because I mean DC doesn't want that seen, and some more unscrupulous news sources have already done that. But essentially, it was a villain holding a gun to a classroom.
A single panel.
Yeah, it was a really quick piece, and honestly, I flipped through the book and I completely missed it.
Me too, because I looked at it quickly when I was in the store on Wednesday, and I didn't see it. And I mean, maybe
we were kind of scratching our heads for the longest time, and I actually had to have somebody
point it out to you.
Yeah, well, it was one of the other news sites that posted the page up. That's the offending page, and I'm like, oh, okay, didn't even see it. Like, it was blink and you miss it. But I understand DC's doesn't want any fingers pointed. That's just a bad synchronicity. I mean, these things are processed 3-4 months in advance, so it's not like they know this is coming. Literally, that book was supposed to hit the shelf that day when we got the letter, so it was just bad timing. So unfortunately, you Batman Incorporated fans, you're gonna have to wait a month for the book, but it'll be released on schedule at cover price, and I don't know if how much that's going to affect the regular shipping of that book. I don't know if everything else has been pushed down a month, or if they're going to release it in a bi-weekly schedule to get it back on schedule. That hasn't been announced yet, but I'm sure some of that will come up fairly shortly.
Gotcha. Now, with that being said, there's been a lot more to this story. Christian Bale, last week or the week before, was seen at the hospital, went there on his own accord, apparently, because if you watched the photos that were coming out of the news ports and on Facebook and places like that, these weren't professional photos. These were people taking photos with their phone, taking photos with little instant pocket cameras and that kind of stuff. And I think for what he did, he was at one of the funeral sites as well, went to the hospital, visited the victims that survived. I think he spent a lot of time with some of the families.
It's a wonderful humanitarian effort on his behalf.
Now the downside to that is that the controversy is that people are saying no, he was pushed into it. I don't see that. I mean, yes, he's had a rough past.
Yeah, he definitely needs a bit of positive press, and I'm wondering if maybe that was a bit of motivation. But I'd like to think this was purely out of the goodness of his heart, and he genuinely felt awful about the situation and wanted to help. Now, Warner's actually trying to take a step back from what he's doing, which I understand. It's not because they don't support what he's doing, but they can't come out publicly and say that because it makes them, I think, look responsible for what's happened, which they're not. It's not something you can plan for. It's not something you ever see coming. This is a place where people feel safe, and and hopefully will again. But I think that'll take time to heal from that as a whole. I mean, especially the people in Colorado. I mean, that's just
Well, Kevin Smith, who we're both fans of, I mean, Kevin Smith on his Fat Man on Batman podcast,
he was crying.
He was pissed.
Yeah, he was. Well, I completely.
I understand exactly what he was saying.
I mean, these people that were killed and hurt in this incident, they're us. They're they're the big fans. They were there for to see Batman, the midnight showing. That's the diehards. That's the guys that are in the shops every Wednesday getting books, and they just wanted to see a movie, man.
I mean, we go to the theater to escape reality.
Yeah.
And when something like this happens, as tragic as it is, it brings reality back to us in a very horrific way.
Yeah.
And yes, Batman, the world that Christopher Nolan built, was very grounded in reality. I think that people, and this individual was, just weeks away from a doctorate.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, he's a highly educated individual.
There's interesting speculation as to maybe because he was going into neurosciences and brain disorders, and I think he probably knew something was wrong with him, and he was trying to find out what in his own way. I honestly don't. We're probably never going to really know. Apparently, he stated he was the Joker to the police.
Yeah, that was one of the big things.
He hasn't given up that persona in jail. He's still acting the part.
His hair color's wrong for one.
I know, he's a shitty Batman fan.
I have to agree with you on that.
Boy, I mean, they're keeping him solitary, and I guess that first night he was in jail, the inmates took turns saying child killer. I'm like, oof. Hey, cops, if you're listening, remember that whole accidentally releasing Dahmer into General Pop? I think accidents need to happen.
Yeah, I kind of think so too.
Or I think maybe you should leave this guy alone in a room with the families of these victims.
You know what I would say?
I don't know. There's some justice that needs to be had.
I think he needs to go into general population. B, I think he needs to go out into yard time with everybody else.
Yeah. I don't know if the inmates can hear, but you need a really thick broomstick.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
This is a family show, so I'm not going to tell you what to do with it. But
I got to tell you, I'm, and if we have families listening, I'm pissed off about this, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, and this kind of stuff just literally pisses me off because there's no reason for it.
We're in Canada, and I even up here, I've got some people a little hesitant to go see the Batman movie in light of that.
Right.
And that's he wins, right? So
exactly.
If you want to see the movie, go see the movie.
This is an isolated incident. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
all
we
over the
need
world.
to keep this and make this back to being a safe place.
Exactly.
To be, so
I agree 100% on that.
Yeah. So hats off to Christian Bale for what he's been doing.
Yep.
And I don't
keep up the good work.
I think we're done talking about this asshole.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not Christian Bale, but Orange Joker. Dude.
Orange Joker dude. Yeah.
Yeah. He needs to go away.
The movie's made a ton of money so far.
Yeah, despite all this controversy, well, not even controversy, this tragedy, it's doing very, very well. So, and it's interesting.
Turn that mic towards you just a little bit.
Crying out loud! Stop it!
I can't help it. You just sound a little hollow to me. That's all.
Okay, so I've lost my train of thought. You got to stop doing that.
Sorry.
Anyway, yes, good movie. Yes. Now I know where I was going with that. I've had customers coming in with a bit of a mixed reaction to the movie, to be honest.
Really?
Some people have not liked it. They either love it or don't like it.
Well,
there's not a lot of middle ground.
That was going to happen regardless.
Yeah, I think so too. And I got into one conversation with a guy, and I think I convinced him to go again, despite him not liking the movie. So,
good for you.
I think I turned his eye, gave him a different opinion. Things were percolating his head, and he's like, "Oh yeah, huh."
Well, this particular movie really makes you wonder. It's one of those things that makes you go, Well, Nolan, I think, ended his run on this series very well.
Yeah, I think so too.
In almost a romantic way.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying, and not in that romantic.
Not that sexual romance,
Yeah.
but a
classic film
romance,
kind of
yeah.
ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. And you said when you came in, boy, did they leave that open ended. Yes and no. I mean, he closed off everything he was trying to tell for the most part, and it does.
He's left a couple of threads open
Yeah.
for somebody to continue on the legacy.
Without giving any spoilers away.
Right.
There's something of a legacy that could continue. Now, given that possibility, I don't see the studio going that direction.
No, I don't either.
Batman will always be Bruce Wayne. So, and really, this version of Batman, if Warner wants to get that Justice League movie out, this version of Batman can't exist in a world with the Justice League.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's just kind of my take on that.
And that was a big question as to whether this movie was going to be able to tie into DC's announcement of doing a Justice League movie.
Yeah.
We know that as far as the studio is concerned, Green Lantern failed miserably. They're now starting a new Green Arrow, a television series called Arrow, not based on the Smallville Green Arrow, but a whole new sort of continuity.
Yeah.
Green Arrow, the Oliver Queen character, is not a blonde. He's a brunette. Some of the pictures that we've seen online, he's not wearing a traditional domino mask as he wears in the comic books. He's got his eyes kind of painted black in a mask shape, so to speak. Much like they did with what is her name? Black Canary in Smallville, where they painted her eyes.
Yeah.
So I think that I haven't seen anything other than the quick little trailers, but I think it's going to be good. And for Canadian fans of comic books and comic book conventions, a lot of this was announced at San Diego, as we know. And if you are a fan of conventions and you want to see a real love letter to comic books and comic conventions and all of us as geeks and nerds.
You love this movie.
Yeah, I do, man.
He keeps dropping this movie.
Comic-Con, a fan's hope.
This is a Morgan Spurlock
documentary
on San Diego Comic-Con. And its
filmed in 2010.
Yeah, and it had Joss Whedon in there and that guy with the orange beard,
Yeah, guy who does Ain't It Cool News.
Ain't It Cool News, dude.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of faces in there, and it really is just a love letter to Comic-Con, and it's not done in a geeky way where it's going to be very specific to a comic book fan.
Right.
Anybody can enjoy this film.
My wife enjoyed the film, which I found was very odd because she doesn't like that kind of stuff, and although she's kind of a geek at heart, she's not big into documentaries, and she really enjoyed it. So it's a movie for everybody and anybody.
Yeah.
That being said, let's move on to our topic of the day. That pretty much concludes our news of the day. Let's move on to our topic. Our topic today is video games and comic books, and the crossover from video games to comic books and games, that are very popular in the media right now and popular among gamers. First one I want to talk about, obviously, is Halo.
Yeah, and we got to just quickly mention our sponsor before we.
Let's do that. Let's quickly do that. Okay, I'm going to get back out of that.
Contractual obligation.
Our contractual obligations. Yes. First and foremost, well, where did I go here? There it is. I got to press the right button. Let's talk about Words and Pictures.
Oh, well, thank you. Words and Pictures is located right here in Calgary at 2610 Center Street Northeast. As you can see, there's a phone number down here, 403-282-8870. They got file services, new and back issues, largest selection of back issues in the city. We're buying all the time. Yes, I am the manager of that shop. So if you like the show, come by and say hi and then buy something from me.
Yeah, buy something. Okay, who else we got on there? We have who else we got? We got Red Skull Comics. I want to thank them as well. Red Skull Comics is located at 728 Edmonton Trail Northeast here in Calgary. It's redskull.com. If you're looking to buy comics online from a Canadian retailer, they have all kinds of digital products there through Comixology. And you can buy right from their site. So it's kind of neat. They have all kinds of toys, anime. I want to thank them for my shirt today. Let me see if I can back up. I want to thank Kelly and his staff for my shirt, Total Recall, and go check them out. They've got a great line of current back issues. They do all kinds of stuff, promotions all the time. So just go check them out at 720A Edmonton Trail Northeast, or check them out online.
Yeah.
And that's redskull.com. And last but not least, I know I've got another one up here. I got to thank these guys, because without them, we would not have cards, posters,
That's right.
stuff to give away at the comic shops, and that is Gorilla Printing. Gorilla Printing can handle everything from your business card order right up to your trade show banners and everything in between. Great printing from them. They do a fabulous job.
Yeah, they've been very good to us.
They ship all over Canada. Shipping is very reasonable. Comes parcel post right through Canada Post. Shipping turnaround is about 3 days from the east to the west. So it's not too bad. You can check out Gorilla Printing at gorillaprinting.ca, and you can see the right down there. There you go, gorillaprinting.ca. Man, does my head
Printing
look
for the
fat.
people.
Yeah, printing for the people. Yes, go check them out, Gorilla Printing, and that takes care of our sponsors for this week.
All right, let's back to the stuff.
Let's get back to the stuff. You bet. All right. So back to what we were talking about. Halo Uprising. One of I don't know. This is a book that spawned out of, I think, the second Halo, right? Second Halo game that started to come out.
You're talking to a guy who's not a Halo guy. I'm a PS3 player, so
Right.
that's an Xbox game. My Halo experience is the Red and Blue web series. So whenever I go to a friend's house and they're playing Halo, I'm like, this isn't funny at all. So I really don't know too much about it, but I did read this particular series, Halo Uprising. I missed the initial graphic novel that had the short stories and stuff, because I'm a Bendis fan and Malieve fan, and
Sure.
they're definitely a good crew, and it was a decent story. I mean, I think I could really get into the video game because the comic book had a nice story behind it. And it's been a big success for Marvel. So
Yeah, huge success. Now, as far as the game goes, I'm a huge Halo fan.
oh yeah,
I had the first one, the second one, the third one. I played
Reach.
I didn't play Halo Reach.
No.
I didn't play any of the subsection ones.
Yeah.
The only one I did play was the more of, what was it called? And now I can't remember. It's a Halo top-down game. You control armies. Somebody's going to tell us in the chat room, I'm sure, in
Yeah,
about
I don't
2
know.
seconds.
If you guys know in the chat room, please let me know.
But yeah, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the Master Chief story. I'm sitting on pins and needles waiting to see when they bring out the new Halo 4 game.
Well, they've released that trailer, and I really dug
Yeah.
it. So it's the first one that's not by Bungie.
Right.
Is it the first one, actually? Or when was the one
It
the
is.
sub games was? And it looks great. It looks fantastic. So
Yeah, it does. It looks absolutely fantastic. If you're not familiar with the story of Halo, I suggest that you go out and check out the game. If you're a first-person shooter fan. Man, my mouth is not working today. And go out, check it out. Check out the comic book if you want to get sort of a backstory. There's also all kinds of novels available for it as well.
Tons and tons of stuff. There's so many video game comic books right now. A lot of your favorite video games have comic books.
Yeah.
And what's the next one we're talking? Warcraft. Man.
Warcraft, yes.
It's been huge for the last decade. The World of Warcraft, and DC Comics has been publishing it initially through the Wildstorm line, but
Right.
they've still continued with it despite closing down Wildstorm. So
Yeah, it's World of Warcraft, as far as the comic goes. I've seen the artwork in it. As a matter of fact, I think we've got one in the free comic book day stuff.
that's right. I think we do. So, and we're going to have a contest to give away that free comic book day
Yeah.
stuff, including the Mouse Guard hardcovers. So look
Right.
for the announcement of when we start that contest. That's going to start when we hit 100 likes on Facebook. So get your friends to like Facebook, and you could be a winner as well.
Right. You bet.
So we'll carry on with this.
Carry
But,
on. World of Warcraft, excellent game. If you're into the online version of the game, you already know about what the world is, who the factions are, the Alliance and the Horde. You know about the expansions, and I don't know how much of the expansions, like Cataclysm and that, have crossed over into the book yet.
There's some side minis. I only read about the first 3 issues. Again, I'm not a Warcraft player.
Right.
I'm not big on any game that I buy and have to continue paying for to play. So that one just doesn't exist in my world. But I did like the fantasy aspect. I really like the design work on the game, and that translates really well into the comic books. You can tell Walt Simonson's been playing the game. I don't know if he's still writing the book, but there's definitely some cool stuff in there. So on a visual standpoint, I really dug it. It kind of has looks like some of the stuff we saw in the 90s from Dreamwave and some other companies. Just a good fantasy adventure book.
Now, they also are taking a lot of that storyline out of the game and translating it to the printed page in terms of the comic book, so you can kind of continue your adventure that you're playing in the MMO throughout the comic. It's not like something like The Guild, which is a web series based on a World of Warcraft kind of game, which their comic books have absolutely nothing to do with their web series.
A lot of these video game comic books are meant to expand the world of the video game.
Right.
They're either
much like the novels.
Yeah, much like the novels. They're expansions on that world. They're some are bridging the gap between games.
Right.
Much like the God of War book and the most recent Uncharted book from DC. And then there's books like the Gears of War, which is a whole cloth story expansion set in the Gears of War world. So so many cool books and ideas out there.
Right, yeah. It's I think that World of Warcraft is certainly a very bright and vivid book. If you're into that kind of stuff, definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
And if you're a video game fan, go check it out.
Now I'm not, and like I previously said, I'm not an Xbox guy.
Right.
But I had a roommate who was, and we spent like an entire weekend playing Gears of War. It's the only reason I want an Xbox, because I really love that world.
Now that Wildstorm's gone, who's picked up Gears of War?
It's still DC. They just moved over their DC imprint.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now they're with that stupid DC logo.
Yes, it's the stupid "I'm getting sued" logo.
Yawn. Gears of War has had a very successful run in books, in comics. They're still continuing to print them.
Yeah.
This carries on the story of Marcus Phoenix and the rest of the Gears of War alumni, and what happens during. I think a lot of this takes place during the different incarnations of the game, does it not?
I'm not so sure about, because I've only read a couple of these myself. I mainly picked it up because of Liam Sharp's artwork,
right?
And he's a Facebook friend of mine, so we chat about things once in a while. But I just haven't got into the book that much yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've played the game. I haven't read the book, in all honesty. I haven't even really flipped through it, but I do know a little bit about the backstory.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games that, again, if you're into, a heavily graphically violent game, the comic book is no different. There's a lot of that carryover into the comic.
Yeah. Now we've been talking about some more grown-up and violent games,
right?
But Sonic the Hedgehog's been going a long time with Archie.
Oh yeah.
For years and years and years. They're actually going to be launching. He's had several titles, and going to be launching a digest-size format that you'll be able to see in the supermarket soon. Kids love that character. They recently grabbed Mega Man and did a mini-series with him and tried him out.
Again, free comic book day.
Free comic book day. And Valiant, back in the day in the 90s, they're mainly known for grabbing those gold key characters and doing things like Bloodshot and Exo Manowar and things like that.
Sure.
And congratulations to Valiant on their relaunch and with the new titles and whatnot. But people might not remember, they initially launched their company on the heels of Nintendo properties.
Oh.
So there was like Captain N,
Right.
which was I don't know, kind of a Game Boy thing. I'm not sure. He had a bunch of different characters running around in that one. Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda. Those were all Valiant comics. They're tough to find, but they're out there.
They're out there.
Yeah.
You guys might have some back issues at the store. No.
those never come in.
So there's kid-friendly books based on video games. So parents, if you're listening and you want something for your child, definitely go out and check it out.
Yeah.
If I do have to interject here really quick before we move on to our next book. If you're unable to join us for the live show, you can always catch us on our website a couple days after the show airs. You'll be able to find it on YouTube, usually on Sunday. So by all means, go check it out. And if you've got the time on a Saturday, come join us here in the chat room right here at nakedAProd.com. Now, let's move on to our next one, which is a very popular series from Blizzard called StarCraft.
Yes, another Blizzard's property. Again, it's a computer game. All my stuff's console games. But I remember my brother playing this one on his computer, and what a great looking game this was. And as a sci-fi book, I bet you this one's a really good one. I haven't attempted to read this one yet.
I haven't either, but StarCraft is a series. Again, Blizzard had a great run with it. Then they took a big chunk of time off.
Yeah.
And they've now come back with a new StarCraft series, or a new addition to the StarCraft storylines, and the game has been quite popular.
Yeah. Now, I mean, one of the reasons we're talking about these comics, and back in the day when a video game comic book came out, they kind of sucked.
Yeah, big time.
Well, they really sucked. We're talking about them because they don't suck anymore. They're actually really quite good. Games have really developed into their own thing with those really cinematic type of stories. In some cases, they're a hell of a lot better than the movies out. And they're translating well into comic books as well. So they're definitely worth a look now. I mean, there's that whole stinking stigma around it, and it's very similar to when a video game becomes a movie.
Or a comic book becomes a movie.
Or a comic book becomes a movie. I mean, for a long time, there was a bad stigma around them, and we're still trying to find that really good video game movie, but we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there, slowly but surely.
We're almost up to our fifth entry into the Resident Evil series, so people like them.
Is that fifth or sixth?
I think it's 5.
Well, if you count the animated...
If you count that animated stuff, but they're not set in the same continuity, so I don't count them.
But they are part of the franchise.
Yeah, but there's quite a bit of stuff.
Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, that's also a comic book.
Yes. Again, another Wildstorm one. Actually, it's flipped around a bit. But
zombies. Always zombies. What is it with zombies these days? Everybody likes a zombie book.
Yeah, zombies are like bacon. Everybody loves zombies.
Well,
everybody loves bacon unless they're a vegetarian.
What are we seeing little of? We don't see a lot of vampire books anymore.
Not as many as there used to be, but I think they got oversaturated.
I think so too.
The few people that are ardent vampire fans probably got a little soured by the sparkly ones.
There you go. Now another game that really has hit hard on the shelves with gamers. You can get it on many platforms. And now, of course, it's been in print as a book for quite some time. And, of course, what we're talking about is Mass Effect. And
huge game.
Have you played any of the Mass Effect games? Yes,
no? I have. I've got one on my iPad right now. and I've gotten into 2. I'm still way behind all you Mass Effect guys, but it is a very graphically beautiful game.
Oh,
and what a wonderful role play type of story to it.
Yeah, very much so.
It's really immersive. And I just need to find some time to get sucked back into it again, because I really enjoyed what I've played of it so far.
What I've seen from the comics, of course, this is from Mass Effect Redemption, which you're seeing on screen now, and put out by Dark Horse Comics. There's been quite a few issues in this series, and they've done a couple of different series under the Mass Effect banner.
Yeah.
Have they not?
Yep.
That being said, I think the game is visually stunning. I think the books, the artwork, and the storylines, like the writer and artist combination on these books, is phenomenal. They're doing,
a great
job.
job. And I mean, Dark Horse, when they pick up a license, they really work it. They try to do it justice. You just have to look at the Star Wars and Aliens Predator stuff they've put out, and have maintained. There's a reason why the studios have kept the license with Dark Horse, despite probably being able to get more money from somebody else. It's because they really handle it from a place of love, and they're really, really good at it.
And I know that we've picked a lot of violent games today, but they seem to make the best comics. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. When you play God of War, you're just like, I want to read a comic about that guy. He just took down a Titan. And
well, yeah, you want to know more of the backstory behind the characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think comics like Mass Effect and Halo, and the next one that we're going to look at here, which is Army of Two, gives you all of that.
Yeah,
that backstory and progression in story between editions of the games that we so know and love.
Yeah, I mean, and there's so many more. There's Army of Two, there's Infamous, Modern Warfare 2 has comics, The Ghost.
What I find interesting about this book is that it's an EA Comics, which is, as we know, Electronic Arts, who are famous for games.
Yeah, this actually comes out. It was released through IDW, and they had an imprint for EA, which I thought was really cool. I wish they would have gone a little further with that, but IDW's done a lot of video game comics as well.
Yeah, that's true.
They did a Duke Nukem one, and they're probably wishing they hadn't, based on that really crap game. But
what are you going to do?
But I think
back up a second. Back up.
Okay.
Duke Nukem in its early infancy was a good game.
Yes, but
the latest edition,
given
blew.
the time it took for this game to come out and all the buzz around it finally coming out, it didn't deliver. And,
it did.
That was the problem.
Did not deliver. Not at all.
And if you guys want to play this strange, crappy,
we have birds.
Birds are chirping in our violence talk. So somebody's cues are off.
Yeah, mine are, actually. I forgot to turn off the alarm on my iPad this morning. Sorry.
Wow, I feel oddly calm talking about all this
violence. Violence. Everybody wants violence. That being said, let's move on to our next one, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, Dead Space is our next book that we're just kind of bringing up these images. Dead Space is a zombie infected pussy creature in the shadows, kind of scare your pants off if you're playing the game alone in the dark.
Yeah,
kind of game.
It's I've played the game, I've read the comics, and I've seen the 2 animes that have been out. So I've been
You're way more ahead than I am.
And I have it on my iPad. And
all right, then.
It's a great story. I mean, you kind of have this almost cult-like religion happening within this sci-fi world. So there's these towers, or I don't know what you want to call them, that have religious overtones for these people who believe in the religion, and others not so much. But one way or the other, it's creating these mutant creatures, making people insane and killing each other, and then they transform. If you play the game, it's a shooter, but most shooters, people kind of got used to going for the headshot.
Right.
Doesn't work in this game.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's what they call strategic dismemberment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So take off a leg, take off an arm, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you
cut them in half at the waist,
mow them into itty bitty pieces. So it's a scary, scary game.
So what you want is a big gun that makes it like a blender.
The saws are really fun too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, to me, I always kind of saw this game as being a next evolution to the Gordon Freeman game. What one was that? Gordon Freeman.
I know which one you're talking about. It's not Fallout.
Somebody in the chat room is going to tell us. I'm pretty sure.
Come on, Gordon Freeman. Come on, guys.
Gordon Freeman.
No, Brian's not a video game guy.
Thanks, Brian.
Not helping me out.
Okay. They had the little crab heads, crabs that went on your head. Jeez, I can't remember. I just kind of thought it was the next evolution to that, because in that game, they open up a portal to a dimension where all these creatures start pouring out of, which kind of turn the dead into a zombie-like infected creature. And you beat them off with a crowbar, and you use a gun, and you use flamethrowers and all kinds of things. Now, is this game, Dead Space, not kind of an extension of that, only in another setting, like in space? Because in space, nobody can hear you
not
scream.
Really. I mean, they are very different games and different ideas. So no, I wouldn't say so.
Half-Life. That was a game.
Half-Life. That's the one.
Half-Life. So, okay. So, Dead Space, another great comic book. Ben Templesmith and Anthony Johnson doing that book.
Apparently, this isn't Twit Live.
No.
Sorry, that one's down the block.
Yeah. And a country over. South of us. Yeah, we don't do Twit Live. But we do appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
And hi, Brian. Thanks for joining the chat room. That being said, that moves us to our next discussion of the day. Man, is the show going fast
We're
today.
motoring today.
No, the time is just flying by,
I know.
man.
I just looked at the clock and I'm like, holy cow.
So we got 3 books to talk about this week.
Yeah, we do.
And we're back on schedule with a Marvel, DC, and a wild card pick.
That's right.
And we're going to do it Marvel, wild card, DC this week.
Sure.
Okay?
Whatever. So
the first book we are talking about, of course, is X-Treme X-Men. This one is brought to us by Marvel Comics. This is number 1. Artwork on this book is by, why don't they give me a page where all that stuff is? Of course I can't. We've got Pac, Segovia, Cristomo, and Colney. I could be wrong about that. These guys do the book in its entirety. Very good book. I really enjoyed the artwork in this book. I like the fact that it bounces between realities. We see Wolverine kind of as I don't know. He's kind of a backwards mercenary.
Yeah, he kind of feels more, I don't know, woodsman kind of character.
Yeah.
And this is kind of Marvel's attempt to relaunch the Exiles idea via Warren Ellison's Ghost Boxes miniseries. It was the X-Men jumping around from reality to reality through the Ghost Box. And some of the characters from that story are popping up here as the new team, and they pop up in the 616 and pick up Dazzler along the way.
Dazzler, I love her in the 80s.
I like the book. I felt it was a bit rushed. I felt
it did kind of feel rushed.
I also felt like I didn't get a great introduction to these characters because there's been several years passed since the Ghost Boxes stuff came out. So I was a little like I wanted to know more. It felt too quickly paced for me. But I like the idea. I've always liked the Exiles idea. I like the whole reality jumping stories. So a lot of potential here. I mean, I like the artwork on it, and I like the writers' stuff in the past. So I wasn't sold on it on the first issue, to be honest.
Okay.
But it's worth a second look.
I enjoyed the book for what it was.
Yeah. I mean, I also got to wonder about Marvel's timing on this one. Because nobody was asking for a book like this. And nobody pre-ordered a book like this either. My sales were not good. Despite that, we took a bit of a chance on it. People are picking up.
Well, they announced this book quite a while ago, though.
Yeah. And nobody cared. So, but we're telling you, maybe it's worth a look. It feels really ill-timed with all these relaunches coming yet from Marvel. But yeah, I'm not sure the timing's right on this book. It's not a bad book. I just don't think the timing's right for release on this book.
All right.
They probably should have saved it for their massive relaunch. And I'm afraid it might get buried in the wake of it. So Maybe,
Well-
maybe not. I'm hoping not, because these reality jumping books give a lot of creative freedom
Right.
to writers, which is why I do like them, because they get to do whatever they want in this sandbox. So
I'm going to kind of disagree with you on the story of the characters. You know how you were saying that, you really didn't get a good sense of who these characters were. I think if you're a Marvel fan in any way, shape, or form, from the 70s all the way to today, you're going to know who these characters are. I mean, we've got Wolverine, we've got Dazzler, we've got Emma Frost,
and despite not
Nightcrawler,
being familiar versions,
Right.
they're still characters you know.
That's right.
The Nightcrawler's more of the child sidekick version,
Right.
and Wolverine's a bit different, but he's still cool as hell.
Oh, yeah.
And
Even Scott's not a whiny bitch in this one. I do like what they did with Dazzler in this book because, I mean, like I said, I was a huge fan of hers.
yeah, she keeps getting buried in places, and they don't really use her. And she's a character I've always liked. So
She's a rocker in this one,
Yeah.
which I think is really cool.
I'm glad she shed the disco.
Yeah, the disco boots and the ball.
And I'm glad she's a rocker, not a pop star.
Yeah, exactly.
That just goes to my personal.
And they still
taste.
draw her sexy as hell, man.
Yeah.
So there we have it, X-Men, X-Treme X-Men, which is number 1 out on shelves right now. So go ahead, go check it out if you're an X-Men fan. I think it's worth a read if you're an X-Men fan.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy the book. Yeah.
Now, next on our list is, well, I got to say, Debris, which is brought to us by Shadowline, which is a division of Image Comics.
Yeah, it's Jim Valentino's line.
Yeah, this is brought to us by Curtis Weeb, pardon me, Riley Rossimo. This is issue number 1 of 4. Gotta say, man, it was tough to get through this book. Artwork for me didn't do it. Story was confusing as hell, and I got nothing really good.
Well,
sorry, Riley.
I'm completely the opposite.
You're on the other side of the fence with this one.
I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I thought it was a quickly paced story. It's a nice kind of throwback to European stories. Really, really channeling Mobius type of stories in this one. The post-apocalyptic kind of books like Arzak.
Right.
And I dug it. Riley's kind of holding back a little bit on the heavy inks like he's used in the past on books
Right.
like Proof. And shout out to local talent Riley.
Yes, Riley, I know you watch this program from time to time, and I'm sorry, man, but it didn't do it for me.
Yeah, I on the other hand really enjoyed this book. I knew where
Hope
they
to
were
see
coming
its next
from.
drink and draw.
It was, it was just I thought was a really cool nod to books we don't see anymore, and it's like a 4 or 5 part miniseries, but I quite dug it. So.
You know what? It's too familiar a story to me because it felt like a post-apocalyptic meets Dune meets something else that I'm not quite sure what it is.
There's a lot of recycled ideas, but everything I review I can compare to something else. So.
But this stands out way more than anything I've read.
I disagree.
I don't.
Yeah, you're talking out your ass.
Sorry, Riley. Nah, you and I are never going to agree on everything. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to put that one aside real quick. Sorry, Riley. But Debris, it's a 4-issue miniseries. If you like Riley, and I like Riley, don't get me wrong, Riley, I'm going to see you at the next drink and draw. Do like his work on many things that he's done in the past. Curtis Weeb, yeah, sorry, man, not digging the story.
Yeah,
but
I've read good stuff from him as well, and I'm a big fan of Riley's Proof series. So
you're going to say go out and get it, and I'm going to say, well,
yeah, sorry you
leave it on
didn't
the
dig
shelf.
it, but I dug it, so go get it.
Not your best work, guys. But next on our list,
You suck.
I do. From the New 52, we're again going into another 11 because we're almost on the verge of doing our anniversary issue. This is, of course, Green Lantern number 11, Revenge of Black Hand. Now, I tried finding a cover online, but they just had the painted version with none of the other graphics on it, so there you go.
That's okay. You get the art in its full glory there.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's great.
Now, this book, we see Sinestro is back part of the Green Lanterns. Really, I love the artwork in this book. The artwork is brought to us by, who is doing the artwork on this? I know Jeff Johns wrote the story. Maybe it's Mankey doing the...
Doug Mankey.
Doug Mankey is doing the artwork. Really like the artwork. Like the story of Hal Jordan and Sinestro working together again. They are not the best of friends.
No.
We learn a little bit about the Black Hand in this particular book, and a little bit more. And he's crazy as hell, man.
Oh, we've gotten into a dark place. Every time he shows up, things get really disturbing.
Oh, yeah. We also are being teased about something that's coming down the line, whereby...
they're starting to set it up. We know there's an event coming. It was announced over in San Diego.
Right.
So we're getting awfully close to that now. I think October is...
Do you think this could lead to another Blackest Night? Or version thereof?
No, I think this is, well, maybe down the road. I mean, Jeff Johns has got a big spiraling plan for Green Lanterns, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see the rise of the Black Lanterns yet again. But the subplots of this book are leading to something with the Guardians.
Okay, yeah.
Heavily.
It sounds like the Guardians are getting ready to...
That'll be the next one.
To start a whole new... core, as it were.
Yeah, it looks like they're
abandon
ready to
the Lanterns,
push the Green Lanterns aside, and we know, being the book's called Green Lantern, they're going to go down swinging.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, here's what kills me is that the Guardians, and we all know this, the Guardians made a mistake with the Manhunters, because the Manhunters gained their own sense of being and went, wait a second, you screwed us. For these other beings, you screwed us.
Now, seeing that the Green Lanterns are going to be put in that position makes me wonder if maybe the Manhunters might side with them.
Don't know, because the Manhunters have been trying to hunt them down.
I know,
for the longest time.
That's kind of their function, right?
Yeah, to hunt down the Green Lanterns.
I don't know. I mean, it's going in an interesting place. I've always dug this book, and I've got nothing good things to say about it. That said, 11's not the best jump-on point if you want to try out Green Lantern. It is
if you're interested in more of a horror story.
Yeah, it does start a new arc. But it's also kind of epiloguing the previous one. So, I mean, it's not a bad start point, but not the greatest one. You might want to hold out to 0 if you're not reading the book, just to find a better access point.
That brings a question to mind. If you are, like we've seen last week with Wonder Woman 11, do you think they should have taken these story arcs and just kind of held off till they got to episode or issue 13, just kind of finished out the year with what they were doing instead of jumping into new story arcs?
Well, I think most of these stories will probably end by issue 12. I think what's probably happening with the Black Hand stuff is probably only going to be more setup material for a story later on down the road. So one would hope it'll kind of end cleanly with 12. But
and then we run into 0, right?
Yeah, and then we get the Zeros, which are more flashback issues, kind of setting up the background of these characters when we first launched into the New 52. Where it's going to happen with a book like Green Lantern, which maintained continuity, I don't know. It might be more of a setup book for things to come, similar to maybe the Batman stuff, because its continuity is intact. But a lot of the other books we jumped into with the ball running, so we'll probably see a lot of origin stories and things like that in things like Birds of Prey and Teen Titans and whatnot. So
now, do you think Birds of Prey is going to survive?
Yes.
You do, eh? Yeah. It's got good sales.
Yeah, it's always had a decent audience. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of rounds out our books for this week. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about what we review each and every week, you can drop those off on our website, or you can find us on Twitter at Naked A Prod. You can go to Twitter. Facebook, we're there. There should be a U in Productions. I still haven't fixed that, sorry. Or you can drop us an email to our website, nakedapeprod.com. You can either send us an email in the info at nakedapeprod, or you can send us an email directly to Between the Pages at nakedapepod.com. So check those out. We appreciate your input each and every week. If there's something you want us to review or talk about on the show, don't be afraid to drop us a line. We'll be happy to talk about those things with you. Before we jump into what's new on the shelf, though, you and I were talking about this. We didn't get a chance to run it last week.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to run it this week. And
just to kind of tie off our video games and comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to move to that right now. And let me get rid of that lower third. Where is it there? That's the internet one. There we go. Let's get rid of that. So if earlier in our talk today, we were talking about video games and comic books. This is kind of the reverse. This is the new Deadpool game that is coming out. I'm not sure who's publishing it, but let's have a look at the trailer. This is courtesy of IGN.
Hey, internets, we got a video for you to see.
Ooh, is it the video with the two girls?
Whoa there, champ. Not safe for work.
Oh man, those are our favorite videos!
No, we love videos set to melodramatic music and slow motion.
We love videos with boobies!
So is this a video or what?
It's a game!
A game starring yours truly. Come on, let's scratch that Deadpool itch.
Bang, bang, bang! Bang, bang, bang!
Bouncy. Or bouncy.
Best ride ever!
Open wide. Now let's be honest. I'm not the only one with a little bit of shit in their pants right now, am I? So, that itch satisfied enough for you?
Actually, if you could just reach down and...
Oh, hey! Thanks, dudes. We'll be in touch.
Call me.
Suck it, Wolverine.
So there you have Deadpool, the video game. Comes to us from Marvel, High Moon Studios, and Activision. That's who I wanted to look at. Activision is obviously, yeah. So there we are. What's new on the shelf, buddy?
Well, we're launching into the first week of August releases, so number 12 is starting to kick out next week. So we got Grant Morrison's Action Comics number 12, as well as Animal Man and Swamp Thing.
Okay.
Usual DC highlights. Avengers vs. X-Men number 9 will be out, along with its 1001 variants.
1001 variants.
Let's see. Going down the line. Oh, there's actually some cool Play Arts figures for Arkham Asylum coming out. We get an armored version of Batman or Harley Quinn.
Oh, Harley Quinn's coming out.
Yeah,
Good.
and the Play Arts figures are gorgeous.
Yes.
If you've seen some of their other line. Before the Watchmen, Night Owl number 2
Okay.
will be out. Let's see. Dark Shadows Vampirella number 1.
Barnabas Collins and Vampirella. I definitely want to read that book. I think we need to review that book.
Sounds like a porn. You just love Vampirella.
I do.
And speaking of Deadpool, which we weren't, but we just showed him. So, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Okay.
I'll let you just think on that one for a little while. Earth 2, number 4. Neil Adams back on the stands with first X-Men number 1.
Okay.
Hawkeye number 1 from Marvel. Yeah.
So we've got a lot to choose from for next week.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
there's a lot of things. So what we review will be a mystery until then.
It's a mystery. It's not a Scooby mystery, but it's
Red
a
Lanterns
mystery.
number 12. We finally get another issue of Rassel from
Right.
Cartoon Books and Jeff Smith. I know you've been wanting to read this. Strawberry Shortcake Volume 2, number 1.
Oh, it's out already?
Yeah, oh, no, not yet. You gotta wait a week.
Oh,
You gotta wait till Wednesday, dude.
okay.
But there you go.
Should I put that in my reading list?
Oh, you know you want to.
I know I want to.
Yeah.
No, not really. You're sick, man. No.
And Transformers Regeneration 1, number 82.
Wow.
82. Why is it 82? It's because it's carrying off the Marvel continuity, which ended at
Right.
80.
We were talking about that a few weeks ago.
That's right. And that kind of rounds out my highlights. There's also a really cool zombie survival lunchbox kit. So check that out as well.
Interesting. Now, there's something I want to run. You and I have been talking about this off and on for a while now, and I had to bring it up, and it's called Dirty Laundry.
Ah, yes.
Now, you and I are both Punisher fans.
Yes.
As we know, I have my big Punisher shirt, and if I was skinny enough or, bulky enough, not fat enough, but bulky enough, I would certainly try and pull off Frank Castle for Halloween. But now I'm just kind of the old beer-drinking version of Frank Castle. But Thomas Jane came back.
That's right.
And did a short for YouTube and for the internet called Dirty Laundry.
Yeah, hashtag Dirty Laundry.
Hashtag Dirty Laundry. So if you are a fan, we're going to run that. I can't not run it. So here it is, the hashtag between the pages, hashtag premiere of hashtag Dirty Laundry. Enjoy this before we call it. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Which one do we want? No, not that one. We don't want that one either. Why am I not being able to? Oh, that's why. Okay, so there's our dead space. We want to go here, and we want to go here.
That bitch. Where you running?
I already took care of you!
Come on now. You don't run from me.
No, I already done.
You don't run from me!
No!
Feel me?
Come on! No! No!
Give me that motherfucking money! Come on, bitch! this? The fuck is this?
You crossing my street. You crossing my street. You gotta pay the toll. You gotta pay the toll. See? You see? Two ways to get off this street. You walk for me. You walk for me. Or the other way. Or the other way.
I ain't gonna run drugs. from you.
I love this kid. I love this kid. I was kind of hoping you'd say that. What you doing here? Laundry. You like breathing?
So we can't show you the entire thing, unfortunately, due to copyright infringement. So we are going to pause it there, and we will, if you want to see the whole show or the whole episode of Dirty Laundry, go check it out on YouTube. # Dirty Laundry. Well worth having a look at. We are actually at the end of our show. My name is Richard Cleveland. Jason had to run out really quickly. We are going to come back in the pre-show and talk to you a little bit more. If you want to hang out in the chat room, you want to send us some messages. Our Skype is open at NAP-01, NAP-01. And if you want to join us on Facebook or on Skype, you can. We'll talk a little bit about stuff off air and off recording. And that being said, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, all those in the Ape Nation, I want to remind you really quickly that if you do enjoy the show, by all means, check us out on our website, nakedapeprod.com. My name is Richard Cleveland. I'm your host each and every week. And with me, as always, is Jason Bishop, who is my co-host, who has just stepped out for a second. And if you like the show and you want to help the show, we don't charge for the show, and we're never going to charge for the show. But if you feel the need and you want to help us out to get some updated equipment or do that kind of thing, you can always just drop us a couple of cents or a couple of dollars into our Facebook donate button. Just press that. Jason is back, and there he is. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next Saturday and each and every Saturday between the pages. Thanks for joining us.